Javon, it's hard to say, man. Like the Road King is in such a funky place in the Harley Davidson, touring lineup. In terms of it, this is just my opinion. And Matt on here, might have a way better perspective than I have. But the Road King is in such a funky position in the touring model lineup. I've seen different things online where they're saying, yeah, it's gone, and then I've seen things in other places where it's not. If I had to guess, and something I saw recently, the Road Glide back in 2013 or 2014, I don't remember which, when they went to the Rushmore, they didn't have the Road Glide for a year. And my guess is they're not going to have the Road King for a year to figure out what they want to do. And that's just my speculation. Um, that's just my speculation. Obviously, there's a number of different ways this can go, but I don't necessarily see them getting rid of the Road King altogether. You know what I mean? Yep, 2014 was when the Road Glide didn't come out that one year. And there's just I just don't see them getting rid of it. There's too many people that like a fairingless touring bike, if that makes sense. But I would say, and again, I don't know anything, but my speculation would be that maybe they would reduce production numbers, and still hold on to the Road King. But that's just a guess on my part. And then Texas Man 951 said, "What do I think they will reveal? Hopefully, some options on the lower end." And I was going to get into that a little bit later, but we can, obviously we can go ahead and get into that now because that's a great question. Um, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, there's a bike that they're talking about releasing that's going to be called a Sprint, and I guess they had one, back in the day. Don't ask me what year; it was a long time ago. Um, but it's a 650cc motorcycle, and the aim is to have that be a entry level motorcycle so we can get more people into the hobby, if you will. I want to call it a hobby because then it gets downgraded a little bit, but to get into the lifestyle, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So now, would that be something you're looking at buying? Is that intended to be Texas Man, I believe, to replace the Sportster? Um, Maybe. I don't know. Let me look at something real quick. I don't know. Let me see. Uh, let's see. So the Sportster S, that's at $16,000, and so what I understand is going to happen is this is intended to be like sub $10,000. Let's see. It's intended to be like less than $10,000, so it's really considered to be an industrial bike now. Introduction, excuse me, bike. Now, if you're saying maybe they get rid of the Nightster, maybe that makes sense in this particular case. I don't know. But that's definitely something that's possible. Anything's possible, man. That's kind of the suspense that I like about this is that um, there's certain things we just don't know and we don't have a clue about. You know what I mean? Let's see. Texas Man said, "Is the Sprint something they already sell in China or India?" I saw something like that recently, I think. So yeah, as far as I know, this motorcycle is sold overseas. Um, I can't remember if it was Korea or something to that effect, but it is sold overseas. So I could, I could see them making a conversion of some sort to bring it here. Because I don't remember which model it is off the top of my head. Somebody might be able to tell me, but there's already another model that's manufactured overseas exclusively with the Rev Max on it, if I remember correctly. I can't remember exactly where it's at. Is it India or something like that where they manufacture them at? But anyway, yeah, like I said, the Sprint is supposedly is something that they're going to be introducing here as a cheaper option. Let's see, I'd be game for a cheap entry model as a second bike, but I have no feelings for the Nightster. I got you. Yeah, I'll tell you a real quick story. So I went down to Blackjack Harley Davidson in South Carolina. I went down there for work, and I threw my leg over one of these Nightsters, and I have a road glide. I'm sorry, I have a street glide special, as you guys probably already know. And so when I went to pick it up, I did the usual bump with my leg that I do, and I almost threw the thing down on the ground. It was so light. I don't know how much they weigh. I could find it if I wanted to take the time, but it was so light I couldn't believe it. But that's my story on the Nightster. Let's see, SSCK3EU. I don't know how to exactly say that. I'll figure it out though. Let's see, the GNU Sportsters are ugly. The Sprint was a two-stroke made for Harley Davidson. Yep, that's right. I saw that recently, where that was made overseas. back in the day. I don't know what years it was, but I saw that online here recently. It said the Harley Davidson X440 is a variation on a theme of the Hero Hunk, uh, and so Hero, for you golf followers, Hero makes a bunch of motorcycles overseas. And I was alive. He makes a bunch of motorcycles overseas, and of course Tiger Woods, he's tied in with them, and he sponsors the tournament that they play overseas over there. Let's see. Harley Davidson sold the original Sportster design to China. Huh. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. I like that. You said I was alive when the sprint was out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean no harm. You know what I mean? I didn't mean no harm. Let's see. It's called a Stormbreaker in China. Okay, fair enough. So basically, um, a relabeled motorcycle is really what it comes down to. I'm sure there's some variation here and there, but definitely relabeled. Um, so we've got 11 folks in here now. I'm glad to have you guys on board. We're just doing a little bit of early conversation here. I did write down some questions. And then obviously whatever you guys put in the live chat is more than welcome, because that's what this is about. This is about conversation back and forth. And I'm looking over here on this side because I got two different things on my screen. But this is about conversation back and forth. And then obviously I have some things I want to talk about as well. So we'll see. Let's see. He said, yeah, Javon, I saw a video about them selling the Sportster to China. It's bolt for bolt identical. Fair enough. Said, no problem. I have a sense of humor instead of a sense of entitlement. Fair enough. Need more people out there like you, man. It's not all about them and all that other kind of stuff. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But let me tell you, if you've watched my videos on my channel, I am so excited about 2026. I cannot tell you how excited I am. And the reason why, and I'm getting loud, I'm sorry. I'm just excited. I'm tickled pink, man. I have several trips planned for this year. Make sure you hop over and check out my videos. But I have several trips planned for this year that I never thought in my wildest dreams I would be making. But I decided, you know what? You only live once. And so one of those trips, I'm going to be going to Myrtle Beach Bike Week in May. He said, I think we're getting new tracks. Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. And so one of the trips, I'm going to Myrtle Beach Bike Week. I went to Myrtle Beach Bike Week back in 2000, is this 2006, maybe 2004, somewhere in there. And that was my first bike week. That was my first bike week, uh, big event that I went to. And I really didn't know what I was getting into. I was there on the first Friday, I want to say. And I only had a little while to go because to be at the bike week, because I had to drive further into Florence, which is further inland, because I was actually going down there for work. But I did get a glimpse of what Myrtle Beach Bike Week was like. There was quite a few vendors, obviously. I went to the Harley Davidson dealership down there and stuff like that. But anyway, like I said, I'm excited about 2026. Check out my videos. You'll see what I'm talking about, the different things that I'm planning. I've added something since the first of the year that I'm going to be going and doing. It involves, getting my hands up a little bit higher, going to a company that I really think is pretty good. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into some of the things that we were going to talk about. One being the Chapter 1 release. I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about the some portions of the Chapter 1 release. One of the things that I really liked, just up here on the screen right now, one of the things that I really liked about the Chapter 1 release is they actually sat down and talked about some of their thought process behind paint schemes. They talked about the cruiser lineup like they're talking about right now. And so one of my favorite bikes in the cruiser lineup, and I'm going to let this play here for a minute. One of my favorite bikes in the cruiser lineup is the Lowrider ST, and I'll talk about it here in just a minute. Texas Man, thank you very much for subscribing. Appreciate you coming on to the live stream. Again, that's what it's all about. It's all about generating a following, a crowd of folks that want to, be entertained by what you do. And luckily, I love what I do. I'm a smaller channel. You know what I mean? Like I'm just starting basically. So I've just been doing this for like a year and a half. But I really enjoy it, and riding the bike obviously is fun as well. So, but I'm going to let this play a little bit until they get done talking about the Lowrider ST, and then we'll go into that just a little bit. I'm gonna let him get through this real quick. And so what I will tell you is, and SS, I appreciate you subscribing. You said I like Harley Davidson, even though I no longer own one. I am a handy, capable, and a heavy touring rig is a bit too much for me. Damn it! Let me tell you. In a little bit, we're going to be talking about the trikes. Have you thought about getting a trike, SS? Javon, you said wish that the lowrider ST had a touchscreen. Yeah, I agree. You got to make some sacrifices here and there, you know. And when it comes to this trim level, in my opinion, you know, everything can't necessarily match up to what the touring models are. But you know, I think the boombox system that I have on my bike is a 4.3 inch, I think, or something like that. That sounds reasonable. I mean, maybe in the future they got to keep something in the bag. You know what I mean? Let's see. Texas man said, I never sat on a low rider, but I heard it's not great for taller riders. Is that true? How tall are you, Texas man? And I'll tell you a story about that real quick. So let's see. DG says sprint, sprint, sprint. Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see what that's all about. I won't buy one, but I'm just curious more than anything else. But anyway, talking about the lowrider ST, I did a test ride on a lowrider ST back in, I want to say, 2024. It was a 114 model. Okay, so you're 6'1". So I'm 5'10", 5'11" on a good day, Texas man. And what I will tell you is that bike, you said, let's see, you never sat on one. The stock bike comes with mid controls. So basically, the controls are they're basically under your knees. For me at 5'10", they're under my knees. I think if you get the forward controls, which takes the controls, you know, from the middle to forward, then I think that would work for you as being somebody who's 6'1". But you would only know by test riding a bike that has the forward controls on it already. And you'd have to ask them at the dealership, you know, do you have one set up that way? Or would they be willing to set one up for you that way for you to be able to sell it? But I'm telling you, that bike with a 114, it scoots. I can't imagine with the 117 what it does. It's got to move because that bike's lighter. I want to say it's around either high 600 or low 700 or something like that. And you put yourself a torque cam in there or something like that, man, that thing's screaming. So I definitely like the lowrider ST. Make sure when you get a chance after we're done here, make sure you hop out, check my review of the lowrider ST when I wrote it. And I did it with Matt, as a matter of fact. He hooked me up, man. Matt worked at a local Harley Davidson dealership, and me and him, we hit it off really well. And you'll see him in some of the videos that I've done. Let's see here. SS says, yes, my younger brother brings that up a few times a week. I did buy a 2025 Triumph, the Elvis Presley edition, to ride around home on. I got you. Yeah. Like I said, I'll tell you another story real quick. So I did a video on the trikes. It was I don't even know. I get so messed up on the model names. But anyway, it was the Street Glide trike. And so when the manager at the time, the GM at the time, suggested that I do a video on it, I was like, yeah, right, man. I mean, you're offering it to me, and I'm very grateful for that. So I'm going to do it. I'm just going to make the video. And so I made the video, and would you know that that is one of my best viewed videos? Like, I have some that are viewed quite a bit, but that trike video is one of my best viewed videos, which is completely unbelievable, but it is what it is. Let's see here. Let's see. Texas man says, I'm no speed demon, but I only have a 107 with a cam, and it really has more power than I'd ever want. I'm sure the 114 is even better. Yeah, I have a 114 in my Street Glide. I really do enjoy riding it, man. I don't have a torque cam in it. The only thing I did is a stage one with the Harley tuner pipes, and the filter. That's all I did on mine. And honestly, it does, I won't say pull, it does move pretty good. But part of me wants that extra torque just so I can have it sometimes in traffic and stuff like that. But I've got a plan for that. And I talk about that in one of my videos. I've got a plan for that in this coming year, when things happen with this release and all the other kind of stuff. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Let's see. Matt said, I'd love to do more videos with you in the future. Maybe a bike trip since I be on my limited low. Yeah, man, we got to hook up and do that, man. Hit me up through, excuse me. You can hit me up through Facebook Messenger or I think, I don't know if we have each other's numbers or not. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Let's see here. You said Street Glide Trike. Yeah, I did. I don't know the name. I'm glad they're streamlining the names, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit, but I'm glad they're streamlining the names and not making them so confusing, man, because and let alone the FLHXS and all that other kind of stuff. Nobody uses that. They just call it by its name. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. My brother sends me pictures of so many folks riding their trikes. I know it is in my future, but my ego gets it. Don't let it, man. SS. Don't let it get in your way, man. I'm telling you, that bike is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I would buy one now if I had the money, honestly. Like, I should say the money and the purpose. If I had if I had a backseater that wasn't comfortable on two wheels, I would buy one in a heartbeat. No questions asked. But that's just me. Let's see. Javon said, did you have a Screaming Eagle tune? Yes, I have the Screaming Eagle tuner, the little small red tuner. I have that one in my bike. That's what I use. So the comments have kind of slowed up a little bit. Let me play a video. Let me play a little bit more of this video. I'm not going to get completely stuck down in this, but that is part of what this live stream is about. Is the chapter 1 release. So let's watch a little bit more of it. I may skip ahead. Yeah, he talked about the Lowrider ST. And again, I'm going to commend them on putting in these portions about the factory. I'm going to skip this, but I do want to let it roll for a little bit. Yeah, so I'm not going to get too much into the Milwaukee 8 and the performance of all of that. I mean, it's like I said, if you got some time, you got 20 some odd minutes, make sure you check that out over there over on Harley Davidson's YouTube page. So getting into some of the questions I have here, let me close out of some of this stuff. Getting into some of the questions I have here, I did ask if you had watched the video. Some of you said you did, some of you said didn't. Make sure you check it out. It's got a lot of good stuff in there. I did like how they explained a little bit of the thought process about the user interface on the touring bikes. They talk about that right here. They talk about some of the design, and they talk about basically how you use the user interface and all the other kind of stuff. I haven't played with it a lot. Yeah, the process of putting a motorcycle, it does look good, does look cool. It's just kind of a sneak peek into what they do in the factories and stuff like that. But I didn't play with it a lot because I did a test ride. I also did a test ride with Matt. I drove the road glide and he drove the street glide, and then we switched. So I was able to ride the 2024 road glide, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Stock out of the box, except for the seat. That's the only thing I really didn't care for. Yep, and then like you said, the custom modes, the what is it, the sport, tour, rain mode, stuff like that. It's cool to me that they took those to the cruisers. Like they just said, and I meant to mention, the Lowrider ST has those ride modes now. They did a lot of upgrades to the cruiser lineup that you wouldn't necessarily expect to get. So a lot of bang for your buck, if you will, bringing up that technology. And one of you had mentioned, you wish it had a touch screen. I am not a fan of, honestly, I'm not a fan of the round gauge. I prefer the square gauge that they had on there, and I may be alone in that, but I preferred the square gauge that they had on the 2024 before that. But I also wouldn't turn down a Lowrider ST either. I would definitely buy one if I had that kind of money to play with. But scooting through the rest of the video here, they did do a little bit of background in terms of like how they choose their paint schemes and stuff like that. Um, how they choose their paint schemes and stuff like that, like the process that they go through, and they call it infinite horizons, is what they call it. You know, every I won't say every, but most or some corporate organizations or whatever, they have their taglines or program names and stuff like that, and that's what they have over at Harley when they go through and make these paint schemes and stuff like that. And so for me this year so far, I wouldn't necessarily buy it, but the olive steel metallic and vivid black is my favorite. It looks great to me. I like a bike with the ghost flame. So they did that last year. I think it was the Midnight Firestorm and I can't remember the other one because there was a red variant, red-ish, and then a black variant. I want to say one of them was Midnight Firestorm, and I don't remember the name of the other one. But I did a video with those, as a matter of fact, and I did that video with Matt. So make sure you hop over and check it out, man. I've got a lot of stuff on my page that's worth watching, or at least, of course, I think so. So, but let's see here. Whiskey Firestorm. There it is. Yeah. And then the black one was Midnight Firestorm, I believe, if I remember correctly. But and then so the Pan America. Any thoughts for the Pan America on any for anybody in here? Um, I think it's a great option. I don't know if I would ever buy one. I'd have to fall into some money in order to do it. But the Pan America is a great bike, and I'd love to test ride it at some point in time. Maybe I'll make that one of my goals for this year is to test ride the Pan America and do a video on it. Let's see here. So they got a little bit more of the story here. So funny enough, and I'll just kind of play this a little bit. And so, you know, I think we can all safely say that Harley Davidson has the best paint in the game. I don't know that anybody, I don't know that anybody does uh, paint better than Harley. To be honest with you, the variation, the quality, all that other kind of stuff. But they talk about that a little bit here in this video. And as one of you mentioned, they're a husband and wife couple. They work in the same exact section. Not sure how they do it. I'm not sure how they do it. But anyway, but she has been there for 28 years, man. So you know that's experience. That's everything that comes with doing the job the right way. And he's been there 15 years. So that's really cool. But that is the York, Pennsylvania facility. And if I remember correctly, that's where the touring models are made. So where my Street Glide is made and your touring model bikes are made and stuff like that. Let's see here. SS said, or Texas Man said, I test rode a Pan America, didn't care for it at all. Can you tell us a little bit why you didn't like it, the Pan America? Let's see. SS says, I test rode one, but due to my handicaps, it was very scary for me. If I was more normal, you're normal, dude. You're all good. You're all good. You would buy one. Let's see here. SS, my brother bought a 2024 Hydroglide, and within months traded it in for a 2025 Street Glide. Softails have twin gear driven counterbalancers that produce a very loud whine at idle. He hates that. Fair enough. Yeah. Well, it seems like now he's on the bike that he really likes, and that's good. It got a 2025 Street Glide. What color is it? Do you know off the top of your head? Let's see. And then not even sport bikes have that. Are you talking about the years of experience or the paint jobs? Let's see here. And so that's all on the actual release video. Like I said, if you haven't watched it, take the time to watch it. It's a good video, and it's a good watch, especially for 28 minutes. There's worse things you could be watching for 28 minutes. You said that gorgeous red. I got you. Yeah. You see, Mike Bradford, welcome to the live stream. Let's see. Has been failing company. Well, I mean, that is what it is. They're still producing bikes right now, though, right? They're in business still, and they got a new CEO too. So maybe they turn things around. I don't know, but I don't know that anybody wants to see Harley fail, and I don't know what reason you would have for that. But hopefully they can keep it going. But anyway, let's see here. So as we're getting into this a little bit more, we got 17 people online. That's the highest number. I want to welcome everybody. Please stick and stay for a little bit. It is 8:27, and I plan on going till at least 9 o'clock. But that all depends on who's all in the room and how the conversation is going and stuff like that. And so we're going back to a comment about the Pan America. The test ride was the first year of the Pan America. Yeah, I heard that Pan America was junk back then. That's what I heard. A lot of problems. Honestly, can't remember much, but remember that the engine didn't excite me. Not great performance, sounded awful. I tell you what, I would recommend, based on what I've seen and heard, I would recommend looking at the Pan America again, based off of the first year versus now, because I understand it had a lot of problems, and I also understand that thing scoots, man. That Pan America just scoots, is everything I understand. It moves. Let's see. Artie Starks is the new CEO. That's right, and he came from Top Golf, I want to say. So maybe an outsider's perspective can refresh things a little bit and get things going. Let's see. Breakout. Welcome to the live stream. Just picked up a 2024 Breakout 117 Vivid Black. Love it. That's awesome, man. I haven't ridden a Fat Boy. I haven't ridden a Breakout. Hopefully I get to do that this year. I've got a lot of communication going with the local dealerships here, and they're really supportive of content creators. And as far as I know, I'm like one of the only ones, I don't know that for sure, but I'm like one of the only ones that actually approach and work with the dealerships, or at least publish videos about the dealerships in this area. So that's really cool, and I really appreciate them for that. Very welcoming. Let's see here. So Breakout 215. Does the fat tire bother you at all? I've heard complaints about the fat tire. Just drop that in the comments there. Let's see here. And so, like I mentioned, what are some of you folks riding right now? And are you looking at upgrading either to a 2025 or 2026? Drop in the chat what bikes you're riding right now. Let's see. The Pan America is very powerful. I need or even want. I had hoped it would have Apple CarPlay, as if I fall, my iPhone will call for me, but it didn't. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, that's just one of the features that the Pan Am doesn't have. Now, what I will tell you, I just got me an Apple Ultra Watch or whatever, and today it was trying to call saying that I fell, and I didn't, so I had to swipe and stop it from calling. So that's a possibility, even if it's not for motorcycles, it's for something else. You know what I mean? But just another tidbit, kind of random, not about this, but kind of random. Let's see here. Yeah, like I said, drop in the comments here what motorcycle you're riding right now. Let's see, a 2020 Heritage Special 107. Love it. That's awesome. Yeah. Are you looking at upgrading, Texas Man? Let's see here. And then I know it's kind of random. But what did you think of the CVO RR that they had put out this past year? Let me see if I can find it here. And like I said, I know that's not, so to speak, a working man's bike. There was an intended audience with it, and I don't even have a problem with that. It is what it is. But I think it's cool to see that they can actually produce something like that. Something that, just is one of a kind when it comes to motorcycles and what it costs. Let's see. Just a different way of riding, have to have muscle it a little more. Let's see. If I could, I would get a 22-26 Road Glide in red. I got you. Yeah, and we're going to talk about the paint schemes here in a little bit for this coming year. But yeah, I'm telling you, when I originally bought my Road Glide or my Street Glide back in 2021, I was like, when I looked online, I said, I'm going to buy me a Road Glide. I'm going to buy me a Road Glide just based on looks. When I got to the dealership, the Street Glide immediately grabbed me. I mean, immediately. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going with the Street Glide. From a visual perspective, and they're the same otherwise from the fairing back. From a visual perspective, that's what I'm going with, and that's what I ended up buying. But now that I have and rode the new Road Glide and the way the new Road Glide looks, my next bike's going to be a Road Glide. And I don't know if my son can hear me or not, but there's always this rivalry thing about Street Glide, Road Glide, blah blah blah. But I'm definitely probably going to go Road Glide on my next bike. So, but we'll see how that plays out. Let's see here. Probably not looking at upgrading. This is Texas Man talking. Probably not looking at upgrading. The new ones don't have many changes. I'd probably be game for a 2026 Lowrider ST, which I can understand in a few years when they're used, if I can get the foot controls where I need them. Yeah, I'm telling you, you know how these dealerships are, man. They'll probably throw some on and let you test ride it and worry about charging you later. So make sure you exercise that option because those forward controls probably would make a huge difference. And you're 6'1", I'm 5'10". I was extremely uncomfortable on that Lowrider ST, and that will be the only thing that would have prevented me from buying it. So I understand where you're coming from. Let's see here. Javon said, love the CVR-RR. However, I think a different version with those parts. I'm not 100% sure. I might be misreading that. I'm not 100% sure what you mean there, but yeah, I love the idea of it. What is it? Thrash and Supply has a CVRR that they ride around and do videos on. So hop over and check them out. Make sure you check out my videos too, but make sure you check out Thrash and Supply. Let's see. SS says, my brother is encouraging me to buy a 103 Tri-Glide so I can actually afford to eat. He also mentioned the first year with the MA 107. Yep, yeah, it might be a good option for you. Let's see. Aaron, thanks for joining the live stream. I appreciate you being here. Got a 2017 Indian Chief and a 2017 Scout, a 2017. How many? What motorcycles don't you have, man? Let's see. A 2015. Very nice. A 2007 Victory Jackpot and two Vespas. And why not? Why not, Aaron? Why not add a new one? You know what I mean? But that's awesome. You have all those bikes, man. I don't know how much seat time you get with them, but that's awesome. You have all those bikes and the Vespas too. Let's see. Do you think they sold out all the one? I do. There's no doubt in my mind that they sold all those bikes. They only made 131 of them or something like that, and there's plenty of people out there with that kind of money that'll do it. I'm sure of it. If nothing else, they bought it as an investment for themselves because you hold on to that bike, you don't put any miles on it, you could probably take and sell it for maybe a third more maybe or something like that. But that's just my speculation. Sorry for hitting the mic there. Let's see. SS. I can barely ride a Road King, so he also tells me to consider one of those. I'm undergoing more surgery in the first week of Feb. Yippee. Well, good luck to you, man. Good luck to you on those surgeries, and hopefully everything goes all right. Let's see. I mean, bike with those parts later down the line. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Adapt some of those parts from the RR to another bike. Now, Harley, they're smart. They're a smart corporation. They may do something like that. Let's see here. SS. Aaron failed to mention and a partridge in a pear tree. Yeah. That's a whole lot of bikes. I didn't count how many it was, but that's a lot. Let's see. Another YouTuber, More Mafia, bought a new CVO RR and had it up for sale just a few months later. Not sure if he sold it. Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm sure they did. It's just a question of settling on the price, I would imagine, more than anything else. Let's see. So we're about 35 minutes in. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys being here. The great conversation here. And so let me go to and start talking about chapter 2 and some of the speculation and things around that. And I'm going to talk about my buying plans as well. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the paint for this year. I'm going to do it on a Road Glide. So like I said, that's my favorite bike right now. If I had to rank them, I would say Road Glide, Lowrider ST, and then what after that? I don't know after that. I'd have to think about it really hard. Let's see here. Aaron says, I just don't like the new style of bikes. I ride all my bikes regularly with honestly the Vespas every day to work. That's cool. I have 8 bikes at the moment, but they all do things differently. Yeah. Hey man, I can respect the fact that you don't like the new bikes. Like I talk about, well, I don't have a choice but to respect it, right? But what I'm saying is I I lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. I promise. It'll come back to me. Let's see here. That's what's Oh, the new style of bikes. So I'm a technology driven person. I use all kinds of cameras for my YouTube. I got my iPad over here. I got, just all these things that I'm grateful to have and grateful to be able to afford. You know what I mean? Lord bless me, and I'm glad for it. But what I'm saying is I like the tech. I like the user interface. I like for things to work the right way, the way they're intended to work. And the example I'll give is you can use a jumper on basically the 2014 to 2023s. You can use a little jumper to make CarPlay work. That's not how I want to roll. I don't want to use things halfway. I want to use them as in the way that they're intended. So I ended up buying the WIM, having the WIM installed after the fact, and then buying the Harley headset. So now my CarPlay works with no issues. I don't have to do anything special. All of my controls work, my volume, all this other kind of stuff. And I say that to say the technology in these bikes, and even though I haven't played with them, completely, the technology in these bikes is something that I really like and would look forward to dealing with on a regular basis. Let's see here. But I can understand why people wouldn't like them. There is something to be said for the analog gauges and just that look and the appeal of all of that. But, it is what it is. Let's see. Heard about CVO ST. Would you get one? Man, I don't know. I don't know, and here's the reason why. I From a functional aspect, it doesn't work for what I want to do with riding, if that makes sense. If I had, let's just say I won the lottery or something, you know what I mean? Like this last lady that won 4,600 or $462 million. Let's say I won the lottery. I would keep my street glass special that I have. I would buy the bike that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, and then I would buy a CVO ST just to have the 3 different lines or the 3 different genres, if you will, because I do like to move a little bit. I mean, I'm not reckless, but I do like to move out there on the bike. Let's see here. Aaron, I'm with you. I also have a scooter. I'll never sell it. I used to ride a Honda Spree. I don't know if you guys know what that is or not, but back in the, what is it? Mid 90s? No, early 90s. I rode a Honda Spree. So that was my scooter. Let's see here. Aaron, let's see. People just don't realize how convenient they are. Yeah, I'm sure. SS, man, please ask you what you folks' real world MPG is. My brother gets 50 plus all the time. I want to say mine's like in the 40s. When I'm doing a road trip, I want to say mine's like in the 40s or something like that. I haven't done it lately. I've only done it on road trips. Let's see. Yep, Aaron. If I could only have one bike, I'd only keep the scooter. So hold loads of groceries, a cinch to ride, great on gas. My motorcycle, my street glass special holds groceries. Yep, you remember the spree. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the paint schemes for 2026. And so what I'm curious about is in the ones that we're going to talk about that are underneath the covers, underneath the sheets, are they just going to carry over these paint schemes? Obviously, the CVO is going to be completely different, but are they just going to carry over these colors to these other bikes, or are they going to have separate colors? That's my curiosity with all of this, because that impacts my decision coming into 2026 on what I'm going to do. But what I will say is this year they did not make you choose between chrome and black in order to get a color, and I absolutely love that. I love that they didn't make it to where certain colors are only available if you get a certain trim. I'm a black trim kind of guy. I don't like chrome. I don't like maintaining it. I like the more subdued black trim. And so you have these different colors in the black trim, and I'll just stick with this because that's what I like. Let's see, dude. Same. I tell people all the time, and they think I'm crazy talking about the scooter. Yeah, I can see it, man. But right here, you have the Teal Thunder Vivid Black. I would not buy this. It's not for me. I'm sure it is for some people, but it's not for me. Um, and then you have the Olive Steel Metallic and Vivid Black. I want to see it in person, but just looking at it online, this is something that I would buy, but I wouldn't like if I was buying a bike this year, I wouldn't buy it if that makes sense. I think it's a gorgeous color. I think it's it won't rotate for me. I think it's a gorgeous color. I just don't know that I would want to look at it every day. But I can see why somebody would buy it. You know what I mean? Like if you're a maybe a Green Bay fan or something like that. Let's see. I like the bike with red and black chrome. Let's see here. The teal and black is insane up close. Huh. Fair enough. Yeah, I haven't seen it. Actually, that's not true. I saw it the other day when I went to my local dealership. I did. I just kind of dismissed it. I guess maybe I don't know. But anyway, this is the Aura Blue Denim. So, has anybody ever had a denim bike? I heard they're a nightmare to take care of. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but I heard they're an absolute nightmare. But anyway, that's a nice popping blue to me. The Purple Abyss. Again, I wouldn't buy this bike, but I can understand it. The Mystic Shift from last year, I really liked. I really liked that color. That was awesome. And so you got the Blood Orange. That's pretty sharp. Attention grabber. You got your Vivid Black, which I still can't believe that's not the stock color anymore. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion. And then you got your dark billiard gray. And then your chrome trims are the same exact colors, just obviously in chrome. Let's see here. Got comments here. Let's see. The billiard gray doesn't appeal to me at all. It looks like something went wrong with my Cracker Barrel chicken and dumplings. Red or black looks nice. Yeah. Part of me wonders if they went with this billiard gray to make you pay more for black. Because how many black bikes do you see out there on the road all the time? And the billiard gray, like you said, it just doesn't. Even though I have gauntlet gray, and I really love it, I don't care for this. You know what I mean? Like especially because part of the reason is because it's stock. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Let's see. Flat paint is not something I care for. Yeah, I like the way it looks, but I don't know. Like I said, I put a lot of lotion on my hands and what have you. You know what I mean? So I get it on my grips. I get it in places I really don't want it on my helmet because my helmet's flat. Yada yada yada. You know what I mean? I just wouldn't want to deal with that. Let's see. Either red or black out for me. I'm simple. Blue would be a third choice. I can see that. Yeah, yeah, yep. SS says that's exactly what they did as far as the bearded gray and the black. Rarely any black bikes. Yeah, right. That's the running joke, man, about black bikes. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Yeah, we're about 45 minutes in, and we're holding strong in terms of numbers. We got double digits in here. I appreciate everybody coming in and joining the live stream. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and back up. So we've already talked about the colors for 2026. That's what was released in chapter 1. So now we're going to talk about what's underneath the covers and what I think in terms of the different rumors that I've heard and so on and so forth. And then I'll talk about what my buying plans are because obviously it's one of these that are under the cover because I haven't talked about it yet. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I'm going to go from right to left. So you got your CVO Road Glide ST. And again, I'm interested to see what the paint schemes are like. The Hot Lap from last year and the Blue Streak. I like the Blue Streak better, but the Hot Lap I saw online and I was like, man, that's butt ugly. And then when I saw it in the dealership, I was like, okay, because it had that flake in the black and then the alternating flag, if you will. It was pretty cool looking in my opinion. But the CVO Road Glide ST and the CVO Street Glide ST, and I'll talk about that here in a minute, but it'll be interesting to see what the paint jobs look like. Let's see here. I painted my fair enough. So I don't even know what to make of that, man. I believe that where it's at, but that's pretty cool. But it's odd to me that they would make a CVO ST, and I guess it's no different than you building your own You building your own, you know what I mean? Getting your stage, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is done, or getting you a 131 installed, or whatever the case would be. I don't, on the one hand, it's not really any different, but it's odd in my mind since they haven't done an ST before in Street Glide that they did it now. But I guess it was inevitable, really. He said, "I like the Poisonberry CVO from last year. Yeah, that's a really good looking paint scheme. I like that one as well. But you got your STs, and so you got your CVO Street Glide Limited. Some people are going to be all over that. And again, I can't say it again or enough. I guess is I can't wait to see what the paint schemes look like on those. In particular, let's see here, real quick. What do you think about them streamlining the names in terms of the bikes? So, for example, they're calling it the Street Glide Limited instead of the Street Glide Ultra Limited and Ultra and all that other kind of stuff. What do you guys think about them streamlining the names? I'm for it. I think it makes sense. You make it easier for people on the outside that, or even me. I've had my bike for going on 5 years, and there's still some of the names I get confused. But I only got really familiar with Harley when I bought one, which was around 2020, 2021. So, but what do you think about the names? Let's see. I think what it is with the new bikes is so expensive for things I don't need or want. Technology is insane, and coming from racing crotch rockets 20 years ago or so, I just don't need all that stuff. Yeah, I get you, Aaron. And that's you know, I guess that's just things moving forward, if you will. And there's nothing wrong with preferring not having the tech and so on and so forth. And honestly, that might push away some of the older crowd. I'm not young, you know what I mean, but I just happen to kind of grow up in that time frame of technology, and I draw towards technology too, you know what I mean. Let's see. But at the same time, they don't offer an alternative for touring model bikes. So at some point, we just have to accept it. You know what I mean? And I'm not bagging on you by any means, but I'm just saying at some point we just have to accept it. But it's just like AI. I didn't use AI for the longest time for anything. And now the only thing I use it for is to make cartoons of my motorcycle because I think it's funny. But eventually we might have to accept AI in some shape, form, or fashion, and some of that I don't think is for the better. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's not what this is about. It's about motorcycles. No more specials. Yeah, RIP. No more specials. I don't know. I got kind of mixed feelings about that because mine is a special and I bought it for that specific reason. But that is what it is. Let's see here. So, like I said, the CVO Street Glide Limited, that's definitely going to be, I can't imagine what that's going to be like. You got a CVO Street Glide, and then these other two bikes right here, and I'm going to get to that here in just a second. So, one thing I do want to ask is, what do you guys think about the Ultra apparently only coming out for 1 year? And I'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm gonna read a comment here, but I'm gonna put that question out to you guys right now. What do you think about the Ultra only coming out for what appears to be 1 year? Let's see. I tell Alexa to compute pi to 600 decibels. Is she just? I'm not gonna repeat that. I am evil. Yeah, you gotta have fun with this tech, man. You gotta have fun with it. Let's see. Aaron says, I get it, but that's why for now I choose to buy the older stuff for now. Yeah, for sure, man. The lines on the older stuff is just classic to me as well. Oh yeah, I can agree with that 100%. And plus, you get it for a better price. You know what I mean? Like, you get it for a better price. The older models. Let's see. I think they did that because they sell more. Are you talking about the Ultras SS that they sell more? Oh, baggers. You said they sell more baggers. Yeah, no worries. Let's see. To see how many will sell first. Yeah, I can see that. Part of me says if they don't bring it back this year, maybe they were trying out like the lowers. Maybe they were trying out, different things to see how the audience would take it. I'm guessing. I don't know. Because, and I got to really think about this before I say it. Supposedly the tour pack is new on the limiteds. It's got more of a roundness to it, I guess, maybe so you could fit a helmet in there, a little bit more space. It should have the lights that the Ultra doesn't have right now. and the tour pack pods for the speakers, and then obviously the tour pack being permanently, well, it's permanently attached on the Ultra also. I don't know. I would feel some kind of way if I bought an Ultra and then turn around this year and they come out with the limited, and that is really what I wanted in the grand scheme of things. I guess maybe that's why you don't. I'm not an early adopter, so I usually wait on things. I don't buy things as soon as they come out, just because that next year all the bugs will get worked out, kind of like we talked about with the Pan America. All the bugs will get worked out, and then you can figure it out later. And plus, most of the time, I don't have the money for that. You know what I mean? So I usually buy things after they've been around for a little while to make sure all the bugs are worked out. Let's see. I had a 1998 Ultra, and that thing nearly killed me multiple times. Excuse me. Making a U-turn would put me through puberty. Taking the trunk off made it easier. Yeah, I can understand that. I think those bikes come up with a higher center of gravity, I believe, when you put those kinds of things on there. And it's just something you got to get used to. He said, "Man, I'm retired and married, no money." I got you. I feel you on that. Yeah, so we're coming to the top of the hour. Like I said, I'll stay on as long as folks are on, driving conversation, and we'll even get into some other topics here in a little bit. What I will tell you is, and what I've been kind of waiting on, just in terms of what my plans are, is my plan either this year or next. There's some things that have to happen before I figure it out, but one of them is paint scheme, and that's why I talked earlier about, will the paint schemes be the exact same for the Street Glide and Road Glide Limited as they are for the regular bikes, or the Road Glide and the Street Glide? Will those paint schemes be the same? If they are the same, then I don't know that I'm going to buy this year. Obviously a number of things have to happen anyway. But if the paint schemes are the same, I don't know that I'm buying this year. And what I'll say is I'm going to buy. My plan is to buy the Road Glide Limited, and let me tell you why. When I rode the 2024 version of the Road Glide, I was immediately, the bars are amazing that it comes stock on that bike. You don't need to change them. I'm not going to change them. The seat was the only thing that I didn't like. The wind was fine. And the look is just amazing in my mind. I don't care for the new Street Glide as much as I do the new Road Glide. I think the new Street Glide is it's almost a little bit too futuristic for me. I don't care for the LED lights that are on the fairing and stuff like that. I just don't care for it. And so also, the reason why I want to get a Road Glide Limited is I want that to be my exclusive touring bike. So when I go out of state, basically, I live in Virginia, if you don't know that. When I go out of state, I want to take that bike. My Street Glide will be what I would call my performance bike. I plan on doing some upgrades on that bike. Obviously, I got to be careful, what I do and how I do it. But my Street Glide, I intend to make into my performance bagger, if you will. Not really, but I'm not doing T-bars or anything like that. But I do want to get some engine work done to it. I want to get the bars replaced, which I plan on doing this year. I still have the stock bars on my bike. I just never was inspired to do it. But now that I've had it for almost 5 years, it's time to do something different. So limiteds are a little heavier. Yeah, I don't know how much they weigh. I want to say they're like low 9s, if I remember correctly. But yeah, they definitely take a little bit of muscle and some finesse, if you will, to be able to handle those. But on the Road Glide Limited, let me pull up my list real quick. Matter of fact, I got most of it memorized. So if I get a Road Glide Limited, the things that I plan on doing, and you could talk about what modifications you've done to your bike. I know when I bought my Street Glide, big bore kit. Yeah, man. No, I wouldn't do that to the Limited. And that's one thing I do want to talk about here in a little bit, is in terms of the motor size or the engine size that it's going to come with. But when I bought my Street Glide, and I told the dealership this the other day when I went there, the dealership that I bought it from, it threw me off that they said, well, what parts are you going to change? Or what are you going to upgrade? I think is what they said. And I'm like, wait a minute. I just spent upwards of $25,000 plus on this motorcycle, and you're asking me what I'm going to change? I don't understand that. And so that was a part of me not being in the Harley Davidson community and understanding what it's about, and then also understanding the options that you have. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's like, what's the word? It's like when you have your toys when you're a kid and you can modify them and you can change them. I can't think of the exact example that I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. Or even RC cars for that matter. You can upgrade. I was a low C RC car driver for anybody that did RC cars, but you can upgrade your low C RC car or your associated RC car. You can change the engine. You can change the batteries. You can do all this stuff. And that's a part of the appeal for me as a man anyway. That's a part of the appeal to be able to have these bikes and to make it your own. Let's see here. Definitely good to have two separate bikes for performance and touring. Yes, sir, Aaron. I agree 100%. And that's my goal, and that's what I'm looking forward to. So we'll see how it plays out. When you see the Chrome consultant run for us, run. Chrome. Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah. Get away from me, man. And then the service prices alone is a whole nother thing that I had to swallow. But I didn't make any changes until probably about 3-4 months later to my stock bike. But anyway, what I was talking about was on the Road Glide Limited, there's a few things that are important to me. I do think I'd get a torque cam in it, like right off. Well, I'd want to do my initial break in, and then I'd want to get my torque cam because I would want to feel the difference between the two, and just basically know that I made a good investment versus getting the torque cam right off the jump. One of the things I am curious about is if the Road Glide Limited will have a 117 or something bigger. I would imagine it's going to be a 117. I guess I can't imagine it being anything else. But that's going to be important. Like I said, the bars I would leave alone. I hope that it comes with the lights in the lowers. We call them the running lights or fog lights or whatever you want to call them. I hope that they come in the lowers already. You don't have to add them after the fact. Excuse me. Goodness. I hope that the tour pack comes with lights on it. The Ultra obviously didn't. It was I don't want to say lower trim, but the Ultra was a lower trim than the Limited is. Hang on just a second. Sorry. Come on. Trying to pull up my list where I have that I talk about the things that I want to do. And then let's see here. And then let's see here. I said torque cam. I hope the lights are already on it. And then I would put some slip-ons on. And all of the slip-ons wouldn't be Harley, but I would put some slip-ons on. And then I would also want to do the speaker system. I would want to upgrade the speakers. I would like to have some in the lowers, but I haven't seen any kits yet that allow you to put them in the lowers. And I'm sure they're coming. It's just a question of when. But I want to put speakers in the lowers. I would replace the pod speakers in the bag or in the tour pack. And then I would also replace the fairing speakers and put a bigger amp in it. I love my tunes. I love having music on the road. That's a part of what makes the journey for me. It's just listening to the music that I want to listen to on the road and just letting it go. I do listen to podcasts and stuff like that. I listen to Tony Kornheiser. I listen to the Tony Kornheiser show. He has a podcast that he does, and I listen to that. I save up several episodes because they're an hour long. I save up several episodes to listen to while I'm riding, and then I put on the music after that. So I've got a whole scheme or plan about how I go about this. Let's see here. Javon, highway peg. So I'm going to talk about that here in just a minute because I have a recommendation that you cannot argue. No one can argue with except for looks. That's the only thing you can argue with. Hold on just a second. Let's see. Aaron, thing is, at the end of the day, Harleys are cruising bikes. You can drop 100K in a Harley and it'll never perform like a 20K crotch rocket. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. And I would never, I never say never anymore. I wouldn't go about trying to get the numbers that some folks try to get. And good on them. You know what I mean? Customize, do what you do. But chasing numbers is not my thing. Like, I don't need my 114 on my 2021 is more than enough. I get on it and it responds as far as I'm concerned. Now, with the torque cam, it would respond more, and that would probably be all I needed. But I wouldn't do much more than that. You know what I mean? So I agree with you 100%, Aaron. Let's see. Is there a reason you'd use the Harley cam instead of an aftermarket? It is for warranty. Yeah, it is for warranty purposes. I'm a huge warranty person. I think it's an unnecessary. I don't want to call it a risk, but just it's unnecessary for me. Um, I, I I would much rather have them take, because I even bought an extended warranty on my bike, and the reason why is because I know I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to trade it in. I'm not going to. Well, one, I'm not going to let them make money off of me from my extended warranty and then end up trading it in. But I like that security. I like being able to know, hey, if something goes wrong, I can bring it back. And if I lose that, whatever I pay for the extended warranty, I'm okay with that. It's just a part of the game for me. I bought an extended warranty for my truck too. Let's see. I'm going to back up to Javon's comment about highway pegs. I'm telling you, I have a video about it on the, I think it's the top 5 accessories for Harley Davidson models that go over to the new models, the new styles, the 2023s, 2024s. The Zero 3D frame mounted highway pegs. Best money I ever spent. Best money I ever spent, hands down. And I'm going to tell you several reasons why. One, they're adjustable quite a bit. They're mounted to the frame, and you don't have to worry about the bolts slipping or loosening up on you, or the peg twisting and all this other kind of junk. And I have about 3 or 4 different positions that I can put my feet in while I'm touring. So if my longest ride has been, I want to say it was when I went to Myrtle Beach, and then I went to Florence, which is, like I said, inland of that. That was about 8 hours. And for me to be able to move my legs around and my feet around in order to make sure I don't get sore or stiff or whatever the case may be, hands down the best money I spent. So it's a Zero 3D highway pegs. Make sure you check them out. The frame mounted highway pegs. Make sure you check them out. Let's see. I want to hear Sinatra and the Beatles and the Spinners and more. Car, truck, or bike. I enjoy music, so I agree with you, sir. Yes, sir. Indeed. Got to have that music pumping and blasting. You know what I mean? Let's see. Aaron says he lives in California. My Indians were built by Arlen Ness before he passed. Okay. All right. Went for looks instead of performance. Might be the last one getting there, but look damn good getting there. I know you do. I'm sure you do, man. You do, Aaron. Do you have socials where I can check that out? Drop it in the comments. Let me know. Yeah, I'd love to check those out, man. I'm sure they're gorgeous bikes, and that Victory too. I wanted to buy a Victory, but they went out of business or whatever, so I didn't end up getting one. But yeah, like I said, the Road Glide Limited is going to be what I buy within the next year or two. Maybe, I don't know how long it's going to take or what it's going to be, but that's what I plan on buying. And so we're at 9:03, and I'm going to go just for a few more minutes here. I want to talk about the trikes. And the reason why is because I absolutely love the trikes that I rode. I rode I don't know what it was called, but I rode the Street Glide version of the trike. I can't remember what it's called. But I did a video on that, and like I said, it's one of my best performing videos. I really enjoyed it. I thought the general manager was out of his mind when he suggested that I ride it, but it was one of the best things I ever done, riding that thing and understanding what a trike is. But for the 3-wheel models this year, you got the Road Glide 3, which I rode, the Street Glide Limited, 3 Limited, and the CVO Street Glide Limited. I'm telling you, they're going to sell a bunch of these things. The Street Glide CVO, I just know it. But they got rid of the freewheeler, which is the Road King version, or it's not on here, I'll say, but more than likely they got rid of it. It's the Road King version of the trikes. So kind of like we were talking about earlier in conversation, is the Road King dead? Maybe. That's part of the suspense, man. This is like a man soap opera. You know what I mean? I'm anticipating the release and what's coming out and all that other kind of stuff. So it's going to be really cool. The trikes get the new fairings. That's right. There is no reason for me to believe that they will not get the new fairings. And you can even tell by the the lines here that it's a new fairing. You can just tell. And also, like I said, the tour pack is supposed to be rounded in the back, and you can see that it's kind of raised right here as well. Rod in the Ozarks did a video where he basically did an enhancement of the curtain to be able to see underneath of it a little bit. Hop over there and check his video out. He's got a lot of good videos on the 2026 models and the insider information that he gets. So make sure you hop over there and check him out. Rod in the Ozarks, that's what it is. Let's see. I think a Street Glide 3 and a Road Glide 3 are coming. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so you have the Road Glide 3 right here, and then you got the Street Glide 3 Limited. I don't know. I don't know if they would do a Street Glide 3. Maybe they do. I don't know. Hard to say. Let's see here. I actually don't have social media, but I'm on the Indian motorcycle forums. Nest Scout is my username. Pick Snare. Fair enough. Fair enough. Rushmore is dead. Yeah, Rushmore project is dead. Yeah, you're right. All right, guys. So let's see. I'm gonna go for about 10 more minutes. That'll take us to 9:15. I gotta go to work tomorrow. You know what I mean? I gotta make some money to be able to buy these things. You know what I mean? So, but are there any other things you guys want to talk about? Let me get in my notes real quick, see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Um, but I appreciate you guys sticking and staying. The number has hovered around the same mark the whole time. It's going up, it's going down. But I appreciate you guys staying in the live chat, live stream. And also make sure you join me Wednesday. Okay. I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm not going to do a lot of talking while the event's playing, but I'm going to do a pre-show. So that's going to start at 6:30 Eastern. And then also I'm going to do it after the fact, and because I'm going to be taking notes and all that other kind of stuff, and we can watch it together. If the audio played well here, then I'll play the audio through here, and obviously you can pick and choose what you decide to do in terms of how you listen to it. But either way, I plan on being here and presenting. So I hope you guys join me in that live stream. Let's see. I like the many safety features of the newer trikes, but again, I spend that kind of money. I don't want to get wet. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. There are a lot of safety features, and supposedly they're going to have independent suspension on the trikes, which has been one of the complaints. Is that the suspension it's too rigid. It's link suspension and it's too rigid. So if they put in some form of independent suspension on it, that'd be pretty cool. Let's see. Ozark's going to the press conference for Harley Davidson, I think. Yeah, he's no, as I understand it, Ozarks is going to his local dealership. And eventually I want to be able to do that with my local dealership. And I need to work on that. But my understanding is he's going to his local dealership to do a reveal because he did it last year. But yeah, I want you to join me, obviously, but obviously you could enjoy him as well. Let's see here. I would think Harley give the trikes IRS. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Javon, audio kind of decent. Audio on which? Guns 2090. Thanks for commenting. I appreciate you being on. Have seen supposed leaked pics of the CVOs. Personally, not too impressed if they're accurate. Unfortunately, buyer this year is I like the colors. Leaked ones, damn. So what I will tell you, Guns, is I've been independent rear suspension. Yeah, my bad. I have been purposely avoiding the leaks because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to have any preconceived notions or information about what they're going to talk about. So those videos that talk about leaked and photos and this and that, I'm not looking at it. I'm really not. But Guns, I will tell you, I am curious about the paint schemes this year. I don't know if you just joined or not, but I am curious about the paint schemes this year because, like I said, I want to buy me a Road Glide Limited. I've got my mind set on it. I don't know that there's much that could change that, to be honest with you, besides maybe the price tag, so we'll see. Let's see, Javon. However, I want to see the Road Glide 3 trike in part 2. Yeah. We'll see when it comes out. We'll see what it looks like, what's going on. Yep. Let's see here. Got about 6 more minutes before we wrap up. Let me get into my notes here, see if there's anything else I got. And so, for the folks that just recently joined, are you interested in any of the newer models? And are you going to be buying a bike this year? Drop that in the comments here and let me know what you think. But kind of like I was saying earlier, I think they did a really good job on the Chapter 1 release portion this year. And supposedly, what they're doing is they're going to move to a fall release schedule. Like this January event isn't going to happen anymore. Supposedly what they're going to do is move to a fall release schedule. So then that way, during the Christmas holiday season, they can get the bikes out and start, having people buying the newer models. Kind of like how you can buy a newer car now, like in November, December, whatever. They're looking at backing it up and getting it further in the previous year, if that makes sense. If we get a lowrider trike within a few years, that would be interesting. SS says good. That just upsets people to have to wait. Delayed gratification is a good thing. I learned that more and more as I get older. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just gotta wait. It is what it is. But I'm looking forward to this event on Wednesday. I can't wait for them to see how they do this. Last year there were some hiccups in terms of the release. Let's just say the release was scheduled for 7 o'clock, and for whatever reason they didn't get the videos out and posted until like 20 minutes later, and you were kind of waiting around and this and that and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really hoping that doesn't happen this year. I'm sure, I hope that their tech folks learned from that last year and the particular situation and incident. And that's part of the reason why I'm going to be on at 6:30. So that way I'm ready to react. And that's part of the reason why I did this warm-up live stream as well. And so I can make sure that I remember how to do live streams, because I haven't done one since last year. But I really appreciate you guys joining. Some of you are the core folks, or you're still hanging in here, and I appreciate that. Let's see. Other YouTubers riding the bikes. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they have already. As part of the release, because they've really gone to getting content creators to ride the bikes and to do the advertisement. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'd take it in a heartbeat. If they chose me to go out there and go somewhere and ride, I would, but that's kind of where they're going right now. And I think just the experience alone is worth it, especially if you like pay for my airfare and stuff like that. The experience alone is worth it. You wouldn't necessarily have to pay me. You know what I mean? Just the experience itself is good enough for me. Looking forward, make sure I'm in the right spot. Looking forward to the fall releases again. They have my money right after riding season this fall. Longer they've made me wait, rethinking maybe. Fair enough. Yeah. I tell you, guns, it's a hard decision, man, because that's a lot of money. That's a car. I could buy me a Chevy Trax for that. I've been looking at those. I could buy me a car for that. You know what I mean? So it is a privilege and a luxury to have a motorcycle. That's just the truth of it. Let's see. My brother is going to be calling me about the trikes. Yeah, he means well. Yeah. Let's see. Javon said a fairing bracket for a low rider to make it a trike. A fairing bracket for a low rider to make it a trike. Huh. I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I got you. Yeah, that would be cool to kind of see that, because the Lowrider ST is a popular bike. Like I said, I've ridden it. I really want you. I hope you guys check out my videos about some of the things that I've talked about: the trikes, the road glide video that I made, the Lowrider ST, all those other kinds of things. Anything you guys can do would be great as far as support and subscription and stuff like that. I said, you are not alone. I'm lost on that one too. But hey, I'm old. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to convey what you're saying. It's not necessarily the person's fault that wrote it. You know what I mean? But like, it's hard to translate things sometimes. But yeah, I really do like being part of the Harley community. I don't know that I've had a bad experience yet. I've had way more good experiences than I have had bad. Whether that was when I went down to Myrtle Beach and riding back and just stopped and talked to these guys. Stopped to these guys randomly at the gas station, and we were talking so long. They were like, "Hey, man, I gotta go. I'm headed. I think they were going to Massachusetts or something." And they were like, "Yeah, I'm off my plan. We gotta go." But I really do like the Harley community. I like what it offers. I like the customization that you can do. You can make it your own. It's up to you how much money you spend in terms of these bikes and stuff like that. But yeah, hey guys, it is 9:15. I tell you, my voice is shot. I appreciate you guys joining the live stream. Please like, share, subscribe. Check out my videos and join me on Wednesday night. I appreciate you guys being on, and I will be signing off. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night and be blessed.